Good to be here, everybody. Welcome back to the Pat Flynn Show. This is your host, of course, Pat Flynn, and I'm going to share with you a new creation. Just for you, this is a new kettlebell workout of mine that I think you're going to love to hate. This is actually a routine for my upcoming Faster 15 challenge, which I'm going to tell you about in just a minute. But I'm going to walk you through this routine. It's called the Inhumane Burpee. And that's sort of a play on Dan John's Humane Burpee. So I'll give you the history of that, explain why I think this workout is awesome. Then I'm going to talk you through this workout. And then I'm going to give you a couple variations, a couple different ways that you can cook this workout. It really is a phenomenal total body workout that will help you to burn a mountain of calories, work pretty much all the major muscle groups in just 15 to 30 minutes. So if you're looking for a powerful, minimalist, high impact, efficient kettlebell routine, stay tuned because you're going to want to see what I have for you here on the Pat Flynn Show today. So let me get this off the screen real quick. If you're watching, I have an image of the workout up. By the way, I'll put the image so you can download it if you want it over at chroniclesofstrength.com on the show notes after. If you're just listening, don't worry, I'll talk through the entire thing, but let me just get a closer look at you here. Good morning, everybody, or afternoon, whenever you are listening, or depending where you're tuning in from. If you haven't already, please do like and share and comment for the algorithm. That's the new thing everybody's doing these days. Comment for algorithm. Would love to hear from you. This will be a brief episode. I'm just going to share this workout with you. I think you're going to love it. And I hope you take it. And I hope you use it right after we're done talking about it. And you can give me your direct feedback. Of course, I would always enjoy hearing that. Your questions are always welcome as well. So before we get into the workout, let me just share a couple things. There's like a million things going on right now. And frankly, I'm just like going in a thousand different directions at once. So let me just try and get myself straight, and then we'll dive right into the workout. First off, new challenge is coming up, and in fact, this workout is a routine in that challenge. It's called Faster 15. Now, if you remember last year, we launched Fast 15. Awesome program. People got tremendous results from it. It's as minimalist as it gets. It's a 15-day challenge with 15-hour micro fasts and 15-minute kettlebell workouts. So everything is just 15 across the board. The challenge is about helping people to achieve a faster, more sustainable fat loss, better body composition, some really good metabolic conditioning kettlebell routines. Of course, I'm going to be sharing one of those with you today. So this episode is actually sort of a sneak peek into Faster 15. But for those of you who want to join, the challenge kicks off next week. We've got early bird registration and discounted registration going on right now. Head over to chroniclesofstrength.com/faster15. That's chroniclesofstrength.com/faster15. So if you like this workout that I'm going to share today, I think you're gonna love the full challenge. So this is like your Costco sample, I guess. Let me also just give a quick shout out to our sponsor, Inverted Gear. You know we love them. So if you need some kettlebells or jujitsu gis or clubs, head over to invertedgear.com/discount/PatFlynn15, and you get 15% off all the inventory. Awesome kettlebells, awesome clubs, jujitsu gear, anything and everything you could need for your fitness lifestyle. Check them out. Supports the show. Great family-owned company. Would super appreciate it. Let's talk about the workout. So let me pull it back up on the screen so you guys can take some notes here. And let me talk through the entire thing, and then if you guys have any questions or you just want to jam afterwards, we can do that. But let me get it all on the table first. So first off, let me give a shout out to Dan John, because Dan has the original routine, which is called the Humane Burpee. And I think the Humane Burpee came about because Dan was frustrated with like your traditional burpee. Most people know the burpee, right? You kind of jump to the ground, you do a push-up, you jump back up. And I guess Dan thought that the burpee was a little inhumane, not because I think he has any issue with the exercises that are featured in a burpee, but just how the burpee is often haphazardly applied. You know, you just kind of walk into any sort of random fitness boot camp and you just end up doing like a million burpees, and people sometimes end up wrecking themselves. It's sort of like the last thing you ever want a newbie trainer to discover is the burpee, because they just throw it at everything. They're like, okay, we're going to solve this with burpees. And that would, like, burpees is just like the universal solution that is just really not intelligently applied by people who sort of like initially come into the fitness industry. Why? Because it makes you sweat. It gets your heart rate up. And let me say, Pat Flynn actually really likes the burpee. I think when it's intelligently applied, the burpee is a phenomenal exercise. I actually like the 2-pump burpee. And the 2-pump burpee is where you come into a sprawl, you kind of hop your legs back into the push-up position, you do 2 push-ups, you kick your legs back up, you try to get into a deep squat, and then you jump. That's the 2-pump burpee. So you one more time, you sprawl, 2 pumps, 2 push-ups into a deep squat, jump up. And I think you try and make each of those portions of the exercise as distinct and as beautifully executed as possible. That's sort of your baseline basic burpee. And I think I think it actually can do a lot of good, again, when it is intelligently applied. Now, moving forward, Dan John came up with what he calls the Humane Burpee. And we actually just talked about this on yesterday's episode. So if you want a more detailed discussion on that, just check out our conversation yesterday. But really quick, Dan has 2 versions of the Humane Burpee. And let's cover this before we get into my new iteration of the Inhumane Burpee, because we're making the burpee nasty again. All right, so the Humane Burpee is very simply 15 kettlebell swings, and then you do 5 goblet squats, 5 push-ups. Then you do 15 kettlebell swings, 4 goblet squats, and 4 push-ups. 15 kettlebell swings, 3 goblet squats, 3 push-ups. 15 kettlebell swings, 2 goblet squats, 2 push-ups. And then, you guessed it, 15 swings, 1 goblet squat, 1 push-up. So the swings stay the same at 15 reps, and you ladder down goblet squats and push-ups. Got it? So it's 15, and then 5 and 5, 15, 4 and 4, 15, 3 and 3. All right, that's sort of like the basic version. Dan also has what he calls the adult version, and that is where you do 15 swings, 10 goblet squats, 10 push-ups, and then 15 swings, 9 goblet squats, 9 push-ups, and then you just keep dropping the reps on the goblet squats and push-ups till you get down to 1. So that's sort of the foundation that we're working with here. And of course, Pat Flynn has now his own iteration, which is called the Inhumane Burpee. So we're going to talk about that now. And if you haven't already, please check in. Let me know what you are drinking, what's in your coffee. Comment for the algorithm. Please like, share, and subscribe. And then we're going to talk about the Inhumane Burpee, which is my very special double kettlebell variation on Dan John's adult version of the Humane Burpee. So that's probably the best way to describe this. This is a higher intensity double kettlebell variation on Dan John's adult version of the Humane Burpee. And I think you're going to love it, right? This is awesome for conditioning, power, strength, and muscle. This is a full body blast, my friends. And I can only describe it to you here. You have to put it in action after the episode and then let me know how it goes. Let me get a sip of my coffee and then we will continue. Okay, so let me make the image a little bit bigger so you can see this. But the rep scheme, let's talk about exercise selection first. All right, so I said this is a double kettlebell variation. You can do it with single kettlebell, but then you're kind of just back to the original. But ideally, it's going to look like this. You're going to do 3 different exercises. You're going to do double cleans, front squats, and a press. Now, you actually have one of 2 variations you can take for this. You can do military press, or you can do push-up on the kettlebells. If you want to stick kind of closer to the original Humane Burpee protocol with the level changes, kind of getting up and off the ground, I'm going to recommend you start with push-ups on the kettlebells. Now, let me just say, if you're not used to doing push-ups on kettlebells, don't do push-ups on kettlebells. You don't want to topple over. Orthodontia is expensive, so make sure that you're stable on the kettlebells before you start doing push-ups on them. But eventually, maybe you want to work up to that, right? All right, so that's variation 1. Double clean, front squat, push-up on kettlebells. All right, variation 2 is instead of doing push-ups on kettlebells, you actually do double kettlebell military press, okay? So you can pick which way you want to do it. I think they're both good, and I want to give you both options to play around with, explore, and see what you fancy, okay? Now, let's talk about the rep scheme. So the double clean is always going to be 15 reps. That's a significant number of double cleans. By the time, and if you're doing it with a decent amount of weight, And I'm going to recommend somewhere between 220 to 224 kilogram kettlebells for most men for this routine, and anywhere between 8 and 16 kilograms for most women. Now, if you're doing 15 double cleans with that, your biceps are going to be pumped, your back is going to be pumped, and your heart rate is going to be jacked, and your legs are going to be they're going to be feeling it after those 15 reps, right? So you're going to do 15 double cleans. You're going to, on the last rep, you're going to rack the kettlebells. Then you're immediately going to do 10 front squats, right? This is pretty intense stuff. I mean, if you're an average size dude, and you're doing 224s, 15 double kettlebell cleans into 10 front squats is, that's business, my friends. That's business. All right. So your legs are going to be tired. You're going to do 10 front squats. Now your heart rate's going to be absolutely jacked, right? 10 front squats alone with 224 kilogram kettlebells is incredible cardio. Like, there's a saying, I think it's true, that the best cardio is just high rep, heavy front squats. If you don't believe me on that, just do it and you'll become convinced. Now you're doing that with high rep, decently heavy kettlebell cleans. So the first round is the worst, right? It's the worst and the best. It's the best because you're fresh. It's the worst because it's the highest number of reps. All right. So 15 double kettlebell cleans, 10 front squats. Then immediately you're going to do 5 double military presses or 5 push-ups on the kettlebells, depending which variation you choose. I will say this, whatever variation you decide to start with is the variation you stick with. So if you're going to do the one with level changes and push-ups, you're going to do that all the way throughout. If you're going to do it with double kettlebell military presses, do that all the way throughout. Does this make sense so far? Give me a grunt of acknowledgement in the comments just to make sure that you're following along. Comment for algorithm, as they say. All right, so that's round 1, right? 15 double kettlebell cleans, 10 front squats, and 5 military presses or push-ups on the kettlebell. So 15, 10, 5. That's your first set, right? Then what you want to do is rest as much as you need, but as little as you have to. You do want to minimize rest for this routine, right? So realistically, you're probably going to have to take some rest between rounds if you're using a decent amount of weight, but we want to rest as little as we need to perform the next set with good technique. All right. And to make sure we can actually get through the next set. So if you rest too little that you can't do the next set with good technique all the way through, you need to add a little bit more rest, right? But you always want to try and keep that rest period to a minimum for this routine. This is a conditioning routine, even though it has a heavy strength and muscle building element. So that's going to vary from person to person. It's also going to vary depending on the amount of weight you use. I'll tell you, even just between 220s and 224s with this, my own personal rest periods would vary a fair amount. So the general rule is rest as much as you need, but as little as you need to perform the next set with good technique. Got it? All right, so the next set is double cleans, stay at 15 reps, but now we're going to drop front squats by 2 reps and the presses or push-ups by 1 rep. So every time through, double cleans stay the same. They stay at 15 reps, but we drop front squats by 2 reps and push-ups by 1 rep. Everyone follow? Again, feel free to grunt in the comments just to make sure everything's clear. So double cleans, 15 reps, and now it's front squats by 8 reps and double press or push-ups by 4 reps. Got it? That's set 2. Set 3, we're going to continue the scheme. Double clean by 15 reps, front squats by 6 reps, and then double press or push up by 3 reps. Then double clean by 15 reps, front squat by 4 reps, double press by 2 reps. And then we're going to go double clean by 15 reps, front squat by 2 reps, and double press or push up by 1 rep. And that's the entire sequence. That's all of that is 1 round. Now, look, 1 round is a pretty good workout in and of itself. But my general prescription for this routine is going to be to get as many rounds in as you can in 15 to 30 minutes. So we're going to set a floor and a ceiling, all right? A floor is 15 minutes. I want you to do at least 15 minutes of work, see how many rounds you can get in, and a ceiling of 30 minutes. So work for at least 15 minutes, but no more than 30 minutes, and see how many high quality rounds you can get in of the Inhumane Burpee. So if you're bored of your body weight kettlebell burpees, you've had a ton of fun of with Dan John's Humane Burpee, and you want to make things unpleasant again than the Inhumane Kettlebell Burpee, Pat Flynn's latest fitness mad scientist creation, which is featured in our new upcoming Faster 15 challenge, is going to be for you. So let me look at the comments. You guys have any questions about this routine? We got some grunts. Anthony says, hello, Sneaky Pat. Yeah, I did sneak on to this stream. It wasn't really planned ahead of time. I will try and get something of a more regular schedule. People have been asking me if I could do that, so that way I'm not just surprising you and you can kind of mark your calendars. First off, I'm flattered that people want to do that, but yeah, right now it's just very impromptu. So let me blow up the image one more time. I will have the full image of the workout over on the show notes after this episode over at chroniclesofstrength.com. Oops, let me put it back up there so you guys can see it. But look, this isn't rocket science, says the brain surgeon. This is pretty straightforward. If you're familiar with Dan John's Humane Burpee, this is just a sort of double kettlebell variation of his adult version of the Humane Burpee. So it's very intense. This is going to be great for spurring lean muscle growth, certainly full body, high impact workout, huge metabolic effect, incredibly minimalist, right? Just 3 exercises, 2 variations. You can do push-ups or double military press. And you're going to be working pretty much all the major muscle groups. Real quick, somebody had a question about the kettlebell squat from the previous episode. I promised that I would answer. I think it was from Gavriel. And he says he's having trouble with the squat because at the bottom his tailbone keeps tucking. So let me give a quick tip about this. It's not unrelated to this workout because you'll be doing a lot of squats on this workout. So what you'll see sometimes in the kettlebell squat, we'll just call this the question of the episode, is people will have really good posture coming down in their squat. And oftentimes around parallel or a little bit after parallel, what you'll see is the bowl of their hips will start to spill and their tailbone will begin to sort of tuck under. And then what happens is it sort of rolls up the back and then they start rounding their back, which is not a great, strong position to be in with the squat. Now, if you're doing like lighter goblet squats, this isn't the end of the world. You're probably not going to completely wreck yourself with this, but the spinal stability is really important if we start doing heavier squatting variations, and especially if we're doing like back squats where we're directly loading the stanchion of our skeleton. So yeah, what do we do about the tailbone tucking? What do we do when we start to see the bowl, the pelvic bowl the soup start to spill? I think is kind of a fun image for that. Well, let me say, first off, just a little bit of mobility and prep work can often help a lot with this. So before you start doing squatting routines, there's 3 mobility exercises, 4 I want you to consider. All right, number 1 is basic hip rocking. Get on your hands and knees and just rock back into your hips. Just spend a couple minutes doing that before you squat. And what I think you'll find is this alone may help to improve your squatting depth and stability. So basic hip rocking. Number 2 are hip flexor stretches. So tall kneeling hip flexor stretches. Sorry, I can't demonstrate it right now. I'm just going to assume that you guys either know these movements or you can easily YouTube them. So rocking, tall kneeling hip flexor stretch. Frog stretch, right? That's when your knees are wide and now you're really sitting back into your hips. That's going to help a lot. And goblet squat prying stretch. And the goblet squat prying stretch is when you get a light kettlebell, you come as deep as you can into the goblet squat, and your back might be rounded at this point. That's okay because it's just for mobility. And you're going to use your elbows to really kind of push your knees out and find space in your hips and posture up. So that's the goblet squat prying stretch. Those are going to be my 4 recommended squatting mobility routines that are going to help with depth, mobility, and stability. And I would like you to spend some time doing each of those before any squatting routine. And what I think you'll find very often is that this may, in fact, solve that issue almost completely, or it will greatly help. All right, so that's the first thing. Spend some good time on squat prep and squat mobility. The second thing is, 2 other things. One is play with your stance a little bit and your foot position. Sometimes if people just turn their toes out just a little bit more, sometimes people squat with their feet almost straight ahead, anywhere between, 15 to 20 degrees of sort of external hip rotation is actually pretty ideal in the squat. So try turning your feet a little bit more out. You don't want to go completely like duck foot with this, right? But just, allowing for a little bit more external rotation can help, or even just playing with your squatting stance. Try going a little bit wider, a little bit more narrow. People have different structures, so play around with foot position and squatting stance and see if you can find a position that allows you to maximize both depth and posture. All right. And just play around with that. And what you'll find is you might eventually realize, oh, if I just squat with a little bit more foot turnout, I feel a lot stronger, and I can get a lot deeper without the butt wink, as Theo says here. That's what it's also called, the butt wink. So that's what we're addressing. All right. So that's second tip, is just playing around with squatting stance. And then the third tip is just controlling and limiting range of motion. You don't have to go butt to ankles in every single squat, and it's really hard for people to do that. For most working squat sets, if you're at parallel or even slightly below, you're pretty much good to go, right? So especially for this workout, for the Inhumane Burpee, if you can get down to parallel or slightly below, I consider that a victory. So don't worry if you're not completely, butt to ankles on the squat here. I just don't think that it's always entirely necessary. So if you find that the butt wink doesn't enter into the scene until you're like, yeah, you're pretty much sitting on the ground, well, then don't sit on the ground. Just go as low as you can until you start to notice the pelvic tilt. And there you go. And you just don't have to go as low as humanly possible in the squat. If you can get that low, awesome, but don't feel that you have to. For a lot of people, a lot of people often go lower than they actually really need to. They kind of do like a depth that makes sense for a mobility squat, but not necessarily is needed for every single particular workout. So those are my 3 tips. Good squat prep beforehand, playing around with squat stance and foot position, and then just adjusting and controlling range of motion. I think are going to help you a lot with the so-called butt wing. All right, my friends, let's wrap this one up. A few quick reminders. If you like this workout, you're going to love the new routines that we have coming up in Faster 15. So if you want to take part in the new challenge, it starts next week. 15 days, 15-hour micro fast, 15-minute intense workouts like the Inhumane Burpee. Head over to chroniclesofstrength.com/faster15 for all the details. And let me just say this. If you guys like the show, if you like what we're doing, there's a number of ways you can support us, right? You can share it, you can like it, you can comment, you can leave reviews on iTunes. But obviously, taking part in these challenges and programs really helps. I have people who very generously ask, hey, do you have like a Patreon or something that we can donate to? The answer is no, I don't. But I have these programs, I have Strong On membership, and all that is what keeps this operation going. This challenge is very, very affordable. It's sort of a reiteration, the next generation, if you will, the original Fast 15, which people had such great success with last year. So I've fine-tuned it, I've tweaked it, all new workouts, all new recipes, and I'd love for you to take part. So if you like this workout, again, I think you're going to love all the rest of the routines. Head over to chroniclesofstrength.com/faster15 for all the details and for early discounted registration. Friends, I thank you for tuning in, and I'll actually be back later today with Dr. Jim. We're going to be doing another stream around 1 p.m. Central Time. So mark your calendars, and we'll talk to you then. Adios.